There's this belief that I carried for years that says you can't have it all. Don't know if you've heard that one before. And the feeling of you have to choose. You have to choose. Are you choosing a career path or are you choosing to have the family? Is the ambition you want or is it a piece of it? Or do you want growth or do you want the stability? It's like you have to pick your lane, right? So I thought. So for the longest time, I just accepted that as that is how it is. You just have to figure out what works for you. And you know what the funny thing is? Life was showing me that yes, this is true. And you see, this is how look at what's around you. When people tend to do their work, they're going to expect something else would be less on. They're rarely home or whatever. When the family needed them, then that means they're like losing out on stuff. And something else pauses. And somehow that became my story in a way. And like that's how things are. And you can't have everything. And over time, I realized something. This belief wasn't completely wrong, it was just incomplete. And it was just from what was around me, society, family, and things like that. I found like family members who chose to wait to have kids were like flourishing in their careers and they were like exploding and doing stuff. And the ones who went through the route of like, okay, let's have the kids was more kind of like nurtured and it took a while or like they didn't, the career prospects didn't push off or like things like that. And you're always like, okay, you've got to choose, like how do you want to roll? Like what is this thing for you? And I think for most part of a lot of people, it's like we learn this from an early age that that this is how things are and this is how it's going to be and this is what you have to do. It's like you can't you can't have your cake and eat it kind of like thing. Like it's how it is. Something's got to give. Like you can't just say you're this or that and that. Like you have to figure out like the work life balance. Like it's just everywhere, like plastered in your head that look, you cannot. It's impossible to for that to be our truth to have it all. And what has happened is society has trained us to think that there has to be a trade off. It's either this or that. What you want, this one or that one. And that's how it's like my thinking has always been like, okay, what am I trading off here? Okay, what am I deciding here? Okay, what's this happening? Even when I wanted to start um my business, like for the longest time I wanted to really go in and just start supporting and helping people. But I always thought I have to be there for the kids, right? Like it was almost a case of like conversation with my husband be let them grow out, let them leave, and then we start our own thing, kind of like thing. And like that was, that kind of like thinking and feeling is like you do more here and then you have less there. Kind of thing. And sometimes that's true. That has its merit and there's some truth in that per se. And having to like wanting to be there for the kids, right? Because I've seen people who even there was a season where people would like give their kids out to someone else to look after, feed them, bathe them. They won't see them for months because they're working. So when you have there was this season where like some people did that, right? And me thinking, oh my goodness, I want to be there. Like for me to even send my kids to nursery school, none of my kids went to nursery school, daycare, I don't call it nursery school, daycare or that kind of thing, until they knew how to say, like, talk. I just had this feeling of like, I don't know, you come back, how was your day? And then you can say, or you can feel like, oh, but when you're like still this infant baby thing and then going into someone, I was like, oh, it was either like having over to my my folks, or there was another um somewhat like I can call them a family member that would look after the kids when they were still young. They were not saying words and they're like very particular. So in those seasons, it was more working in a way that accommodates having the kids around than having to work and build to cover like stuff. So yeah, that felt true for me in that season that okay, for me to be present with these kids, I had to not work as much or do a particular kind of job so that one can be present in their lives at that time, you know? And when you're now wanting to bring something to life, the moments where, like, yes, you could always be there, sort things out, everything is like sort of in, what's the word? Go time or whatever, you can't always be present. Because I remember when I was like, my interpreting career was like kicking off and like I had to go to different places, certain meetings and trainings or whatever they're having, I wouldn't be there. Dad would be or whatever that is because I'm out there walking or stuff like that. So yeah, my career pathway meant that certain times I wasn't there and like managing even the home and the responsibility of things did feel like, oh my goodness, can I be able to do this? When like going out for networking events or trying to like sort out like I've got to be home. I've got to be here with these human beings and help them with this stuff or whatever that is. Or and yeah, it started feeling like sometimes when I'm like doing the stuff like, oh, I've got humans at home I need to go and sort out. So yeah, so there's certain things that I just started not doing or going, especially like evenings and then maybe like even some weekends because of that. And if I grew here, the feeling was then something else will suffer. And that tension, look, is real. Like, what does that How is this? What's that? Because it's it's a real deal. It's like it's there. But I guess for me, the understanding and the shift of this started showing up for me where we can have everything. Yeah, we can. And how we can, not all at the same time. Because it won't be at the same intensity all the same time. But we can. That's where my thinking was going. We can have it all, but not just all at the same time. And having that realization that, okay, life just moves with season. There are going to be times where this is what's like my presence in this needs to be there. And there'll be time where when they were little, like have to be there for my humans. Now, certain things they can do themselves. Certain things now they can help themselves. I don't have to be there. Like even dinner today, right? I was just so tired when I came back. And I just said, you know what? I got some stuff in there. You guys just help yourself. Let's warm it up and have it. Because I'm drained. Um, I was mentally and physically naked. So me wanting like to, there was a season where I wanted to make sure we're having home cooked meal all the time, and I loved cooking and entertaining people and just seeing them go, mm, like it gives me like, yeah, I brought joy to someone's face and like that. Yeah, there was a time when I was like, yeah, let's entertain him. It was like it was a joyful experience and thing. And now, I don't know the last time someone's been around when I'm like said, okay, now then it's like doing this cook thing. That was the time when I was like, yeah, entertaining was my thing. Now it's just kind of like, it's too much washing up. but but it's like there's certain times for certain things that where things will flow. When the career needs to expand, and then when the parenting life needs to lead, or we have to be there for them to be intentional, and where one needs to just work on self and just expand on self and do one's work. And it's understanding and knowing the dance and knowing, okay, personal growth here, okay, this is not the priority here, this is what is here. And having that awareness, then that stability becomes the focus. Like whatever one is focusing on at a time becomes what needs to happen. And in that sense, nothing technically is lost because we're we- we're doing it as we move along and doing it as when one thing needs that attention. Because I think the danger or the thing that most like people believe is like, oh, if I can't have it right now, then I will never have it. And I think that's where my thinking was. And I kind of like, no, like I have to have all of it now. Then in that sense, you can't have it all. No. So when that all happens, we start shrinking ourselves, like whatever it's the ambition or this or that, because we're trying to have it, or we're feeling that because all these things are not happening for us right now, we are failing. We are not doing, we're not being this person or having this thing because it's not all happening. It's not all showing at this time. But when we have that realization, understanding that, you know what, when we're being in our authoritative state or whatever that, we would understand timing. There is time for certain things. There's time where, okay, this is how it is. Some people, they're having it all in the sense of like they're traveling in the early 20s or like whatever, like early age. And then some others, it's like, oh, they've done all the things, they've looked after the kids, they've done the work. Now they're free to travel and like doing their own at the end. It's all about like when and how do we want it, understanding the timing, understanding the pace of, okay, this now, that later, delaying gratification, delaying about how things work and understanding, then it's possible. And understanding that the authority is seasonal. Like when we are in that space of wanting to have it all, yes, we can have it all, not just all at the same time. We can have this now and then do this and then do that, and having that changing how this psychology, personal psychology, now. No, we change that belief, change what we're thinking that we can have it all. We can have everything we desire, and but it's just gonna unfold across time, not just all at once. Having that understanding can just free and give us that grace that even if society says this is how it should be, or this is what, or you can have this or that, we can decide and choose that allows us to pursue our growth, to build the business, to have the focus on the family, the life, raise the family, do this, evolve in our identity. We get to decide and choose and pace it in our own way and have all that we desire, all that we want as we roll, as we want, you know? Because without that pressure of it has to be perfect balance every day, this and that has to happen. We have. too much. It is too much. And it's understanding that, knowing that that statement isn't wrong, it's just not complete. That's all. It's just not complete, because life isn't about having everything all at once. You just can't, because your full presence is not going to be there. You're just going to be playing half, like it's there's this saying or this phrase that when you are running after so many things, you end up not catching anything because you're giving half your attention to so many things. So, wanting to have everything at once, it's about having it everything across time. Like taking our time to really to enjoy all the things that we want in our life. Rather than thinking, oh, if I don't, then that means I'm a failure, I've lost, or this. Oh, no. We getting to understand it's seasonal. We knowing that balance isn't a daily thing, is a seasonal thing. How we show up in this area would be more of now. This will be now this time, and then this and that. Having that, we then get to know that nothing is truly lost. It's just sequence in what we get to do and what we get to show up and be for ourselves, you know, because we can have anything we desire, we can, but it might not arrive all at the same time, is the key thing here. And that doesn't mean we failed. That doesn't mean what has happened is a failure. No, it's just life unfolding in front of us in a seasonal way, in a way that this is how it is. So if you're in a season where one area is asking more of you, hey, go for it. It doesn't mean the other areas is gone. It's just this is where your focus is right now. This is where it is. And when it means that when the other things, when their time comes, it will come, and when it comes, you face it. You be there. I'm Nene. We're evolving here in real time, and we do this every single day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.